Welcome to You Are Not Alone. This is a safe place to explore all things spiritual and beyond. I am spiritual medium Erika Gabriel. I'm so happy you guys are here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to my show. Thank you for being the most supportive, loving, incredible community on the planet. I am so happy to keep doing this podcast for all of us. And, it's been a really cool journey to this point, and also the past, 10 podcasts that I've done for this show that I created have been so interesting because I have completely and utterly and totally surrendered it to spirit. There's been so many times where I'm like, I think I'm done podcasting. You know what I mean? I think I'm done. And spirit keeps on bringing me back to it. And you guys keep bringing me back to it. You keep writing me, when's the next podcast? Keep doing your podcast. So thank you to spirit. Thank you to you guys. Here I am. I'm going to keep showing up for this podcast. I love it so much. I love you guys. I love the feedback. It's such a positive space. And it's important for me to continue to honor spirit and serve spirit and listen to what spirit has to say and create space for that. So that's what this podcast has become. So that being said, I totally trust spirit in doing this podcast. And I also trust you guys and have asked for, a lot of feedback throughout these. God, how many episodes have we done, guys? 70, 65? And throughout this, I've also really given the stage to you guys. So I've done a lot of call in. I should do that again, where you call in and can leave a message and I play the message and I answer the questions and all kinds of ways that I ask you guys to interact with the podcast, because it's so important for me to understand where the collective consciousness is. I need to know where you guys are. I need to know what you're thinking about. I need to know kind of what's happening with this group, this really intimate group of listeners, right? And I say intimate is because what is shared on here and what you guys share with me is so intimate. There's thousands of you, but it's such an intimate thing. We're talking about our inner hearts, our spirits, our soul's path, our journeys, right? It's intimate and it's sacred. And so there's a lot of times where I need to know where the collective is. And I really get clued into the collective through readings. So I'm talking to many, many people throughout every week, just hearing them, listening to them, and really vibing out on where people's energy is. So I do that through there. And I also do that through asking you guys things. And it was really cool. I asked you guys 2 questions on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me, because I put a lot of things on there, lives and card pulls and information. So definitely follow me there at Spiritual Medium Erika. But those who do follow me on there, that's another great community, by the way. Every single follower on there is a genuine follower. We're all kind of in it together, right? Sometimes I look at people's pages and, I'm like, oh, okay. So this is there's a lot of bots, that follow them, or random people that maybe didn't even know. I think you can buy followers, you know what I mean? No judgment. It's all good. But what's cool about my Instagram is every single person there, we're actively there to connect and to connect with spirituality. So follow me there. Anyway, so I put on Instagram, what topics do you want me to talk about on the podcast? And you guys all responded. And then who do you want me to have on the podcast? And you guys responded. It was really cool. So the topics, I was just kind of looking them over, and I sat down to record this episode, and my guides reminded me, sorry if you hear the beep, beep, that's my phone. Hold on. So my guides reminded me, they were like, you put out, what do you want me to talk about on the podcast? So go back and look through that. I was like, oh yeah, okay, let me do that today. That's this episode. And went back, and I'm scrolling because I have to find it again, and went back and kind of read over your responses. I did at the time. And, I also did it again today, and it was reading over your responses and then also reading over who you guys were excited for me to have on the show again. And what was really cool is, I'm going to tell you who you wanted me to have on. Here we go. So we had the highest requested people were Michael Beckwith, my favorite ever. Michael Beckwith, James Van Prague, Gabby Bernstein, and Alexander Skarsgård. A lot of you are get your friend on your show now. But those were the top ones. And then the next top one, so there was, let's see, James, Michael, Gabby, Alex, and Chemo Capano, the Hawaiian light seer, high seer, who I had on last season. So I'm working with him to find a really good time. So there were some great guest ideas that you guys had. And then also a lot of suggestions about what you guys wanted me to talk about. And there were some cool suggestions where I was like, this is a great topic, but I did this topic and like sent them a link and they're like, oh, thank you. So one of the things that came up and that really popped off the page for me that I saw a couple people say was the idea of letting go. Letting go. And that is such a powerful thing for me because you guys know I'm not an astrologer, but I am a Scorpio. And I do this thing that many Scorpios do called brooding. Does anyone else brood? I'm like, why would they do that? I don't understand. Why did they do that? Why did they say that? Do they not love me? Right? I do this thing called brooding. Do you guys do that too? I mean, is it just me? Do you have trouble letting things go? Do you replay things in your mind over and over again? Or are you like, whatever, and let shit go? Listen, if you are let shit go, that's amazing in so many ways. I think there's a balance. I think sometimes we let too many things go. We just let it go. And it's like, well, wait a minute. That actually wasn't the right thing that they did that. Or maybe that's something you have to look at, right? Sure. And then there's also people that just never let things go. I seriously remember some shit that someone did to me in high school. I'm in my 40s. Are you joking? Let it go. You know what I mean? You're good, honey. High school's over. Let it go, right? So there's that balance of figuring those things out. And ultimately, the idea of letting go is really, really challenging, I think, for most. I'm not trying to put that on you if you're very good at it. But are you guys with me? Anyone else having trouble letting things go? Anyone else? I wish we were all together and probably, 90% of you would raise your hand. It is really, really challenging to let things go. And that's for all kinds of reasons. So this topic popped off the page. It literally popped off like it was in lights. Nothing else was in lights. I looked at who you guys wanted me to have on the show. I'm working on getting Chemo on. And these were the things that popped off. And then the letting go topic kind of flashed on me. And I said to my guides, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a hot topic. I still have challenges letting things go and that balance. And I'm like, I don't even know what to say about letting go. And my guides go, you don't need to say anything. Just let us in. Let go of the need to control this podcast right now and let us in and let us talk about letting go. Because not only will it help you, Erika, to channel this information and hear this information, but you're going to help a lot of other people. And I was like, oh, damn, no pun intended. Let the podcast go. Do you know how hard it is for me right now to not sing the Frozen song, Let It Go? Isn't that just like twisted? I want to sing it so badly. And then I stop myself and I'm like, Erika, this is not your personal diary. Other people are going to hear this. You're not singing Let It Go. No. So I'm stopping myself. But anyway, that's what happened. My guides were like, just let go and let us talk about letting go. I'm like, cool. So sorry. I'm just kind of breathing and regrounding a little bit. So what my guides talk about and what my guides are having me tell you is the number one definition or the number one task in letting go is forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful foundations of spiritual practice. It is the basis of all spiritual practice. And it is also one of the most challenging components of spiritual practice. Forgiving others and forgiving of oneself. It is in our nature to hold on to anger or resentment, or even this idea that we are that person's victim or that thing's victim or our own victim, our own minds, right? And so we get so stuck and we can't forgive. And so then we hold on to it so tightly. And then we're holding on to this thing that's just toxic and that's searing in our spirits and bringing us down and bringing our vibration down. And then when we're angry and we're so blocked because we cannot release this thing and we're so blocked, we create no more space in our lives because we're full of anger, or we're upset or holding on to things of the past that are plaguing us. We're just so bogged down. And then we see our life just stand still and we become completely stuck. We are stuck. We cannot move forward. We cannot let go of the things that we are replaying in our mind over and over again, usually from the past. We can't let go of it. We can't release it. So we're stuck on it, and then we're full, and then our cup runneth over, and then we're completely stagnant. And then we say, why? Why is my life not moving forward? Why am I not moving forward? Why aren't I getting a better job? Why aren't I meeting a better partner? Why aren't I having a better life? Why don't I feel joy, happiness? It's like, because you're stuck in the past. You cannot seem to let the things go that are plaguing you. You are holding them so freaking tight, you are closing all the doors around you. Imagine this. I want you to think of something you're having trouble letting go of. Think of it in your mind right now. And I want you to put your palm out in front of you. And I want you to imagine the thing you can't let go of in your palm. And now I want you to close your hand over it and make a fist and squeeze it tight, tight, tight. Hold on to it. Hold on to it. It's stuck in there, tight. You're holding on to it. Now open your palm and let it go. Wow. Air, energy, room for more, room for growth. So many of the reasons why we're stuck, why we can't move on, why we can't find our purpose, or all the things that we say we want in our life. So many of these things, these kind of boulders that we've set in our path, are because there are things that are in our path that are making us stuck, things from the past that we cannot let go of. So the people on my Instagram that asked about letting go, they were like, basically saying, I'm stuck. I can't move on. Talk to me about letting go. Are you guys with me? So I am teetering in between my mind and channeling my guides. So if my energy changes or my voice changes, that's why. So I tap back into Erika because Erika needs to make sure that the people listening on the podcast are still with her, right? My guides don't care about that. My guides are just channeling the information. So that's when I'm kind of going in and out a little bit. So I want to make sure you guys are with me. We're talking about letting go, releasing, and being stuck. So let's go back in a little bit. Good. My guides are dropping back in. So something that the guides are also talking about is, listen, if you are here on the earth plane and you're working on letting things go, there's all kinds of helpers and supporters, right? So you can go to a friend or a therapist or, minister, priest, rabbi. You can get support, whatever that looks like for you, right? Getting support and really bringing in some people on the earth plane that can help work with the mind, right? Work with the mind to release things. Work with the mind. You look at the thing that you can't let go of and really look at it and process it. The guides are kind of saying like this idea of processing, right? If you keep sweeping it under the rug and sweeping it under the rug and sweeping it under the rug, it kind of turns into this beast, right? If you keep sweeping dust under the rug, it's going to get really gross under there. And the dust is going to get worse and worse and worse. At some point, you have to pull back the rug and start to pick up some of the dust, right? And start to see what's under there. And that in itself can be very scary. But the idea is, work with this earth plane, work with people on the earth plane that can help you, like a therapist or, again, whatever works for you. Start working to process some of these things that you're having trouble letting go of, right? About yourself, about a situation, about something else, about something that happened. Really working on looking at that. Look at it. And then when you've looked at it and you've worked on it, call spirit in. So you worked with the mind, call in spirit and ask spirit to take it for a while. You can say, I call to my angels, I call to my guides, I call to God, I call to the universe, the collective, and I give this to spirit. I ask spirit to assist me in moving this through my life so that I can move on. So the way that my guides show me that, and they're showing it to me right now, is almost like taking the thing that you're stuck on and kind of putting it and speaking it into a bubble right? A beautiful bubble. And then hand that bubble either to your guides or to God or to spirit or up to the clouds. Hand spirit the thing that you're stuck on. Hand it to spirit. Ask spirit to work on it as well as you are working on it, right? The more you hold on to it, the more it crushes you. The more it's just infestation in your mind, right? The thing can just go in and become so toxic in your life. And I think naturally what we as humans do is just like, I don't want to look at that. That feels bad. When I think about it, I feel bad or I feel sad, but you can't ignore it. It's there. So the first step is bravely lifting up the carpet or looking at it and getting support in looking at it. So one of my favorite quotes, and my guides just reminded me of this, is a Mark Twain quote, and it says, "Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it's stored than to anything on which it's poured." Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it's stored than to anything on which it's poured. So when you are holding on to anger or resentment or you're stuck on something, it is burning you. It's searing you inside more than, anyone else or more than you can pour on anyone else. It's hurting you. So taking time to look at what it is that you're stuck on that you can't let go of. I have things from my past that when I think about, it's like, it's like it just happened. It's still fresh. It's still new. It has not been processed in any way. It's still there. It's like, fuck. I want more mental space than that, than to be going over this thing again and again. Yikes, right? So look at it and work with processing it. Yes, easier said than done. But listen, you can take 2 years to look at something or you can take 2 days. It's up to you. You're in charge. How quickly do you want to move through this? Because right now you're holding it tight and it's taking over and you're stuck on it and you can't let go. Make letting go of the things that are blocking you or plaguing you or making you angry or resentful or stuck in the past. Make moving through those things your number one priority. Because once you do, your path goes, it bursts open. Wow, that's gone. Weight off. I opened, I picked up the carpet. I swept. It's clean. It's fresh. I can bring nice things into here now because it's not dusty and musty and dirty, right? And all covered in dust. I can lift it up. I can bring beautiful things in here now, just like your life. I moved through those things and now I can bring new, beautiful, fresh things because I looked at it and I'm letting it go. There's nothing worse than when you're stuck on something and someone goes, "Oh, let it go." And you're like, "Oh, thanks. Never thought of that. Wow, thanks." Right? It's like, yeah, I know. I want to let it go, but I'm having troubles, right? So if you are stuck, you are having troubles, work with the mind. Find someone to work with the mind to releasing those things. Call spirit in. Call spirit. Spirit, I'm working with this. I ask for your assistance in working on this as well. Tell the universe, I'm ready to release this. Look at me. I'm doing it. I'm doing the work. I'm ready to let it go. I'm ready to let it go. I must tap in now to my forgiveness. When you're ready to let it go, it's because you forgave. Listen, when you forgive someone or something, you don't do it for them. You do it for you. You are pouring the acid out of your life, not theirs. If you are angry at someone or have resentment towards someone, right? I was talking about high school. Hello. Like, are you joking me? Right? It's like, forgive them. Let them go or else they're actually still controlling you a little bit. What happened there was a controlling situation and you're still holding on to it. So they still have control over you from something years ago. Let them go. Forgive them. Let them do their own life. Or a situation, or something you did to yourself. You must forgive yourself. You are a human, here to learn, here to grow. We make mistakes. So many things, guys, are life lessons, not life sentences. Do not condemn yourself for life over things you've done. You have to forgive yourself if you ever want to move on and live a life worth living. Forgive the others and forgiving yourself. It is the only way to actually let things go. It is the only way to actually let things go. Now, my guides are also talking about this idea, and they give me this. I may have even said this before on this show. They're showing me, like they show me someone planting like a crop, right? And they buy the land, they buy the seeds, and they go out and they prepare the land. They till the soil, they put fertilizer. I don't know what planters do, right? They do all the things, right? They maybe they hire someone to help them plant. They dig the holes, they put the seeds in, and they start really cultivating this land. And then a hurricane comes. And it all gets washed away. And then they start over and they refertilize and they replant and they redo everything they have to do. And they're really kind of honing in and making the land great. They put all this work into it. And then the seeds start to grow, and they're growing fruit trees, right? So the seeds start to grow, and then the saplings, and they're so excited, and they tend to them, and they make sure they're good, and they, water them, and all these amazing things, right? And then the trees spring up, and then all of a sudden, there's fruit on the trees. There's beautiful fruit. And at times, I have seen people at that fruit stage, right? That beautiful, juicy, sweet fruit stage. And they look at the fruit and they go, is that fruit for me? And it's like, yes, babe, that fruit is yours. You have now worked and cultivated, and here's your fruit. Go and pick the fruit. And in fact, go get a fucking bigger basket. Let's go. How much joy, beauty, abundance do you want to hold? Go get a bigger basket. And I see that with people on their journey of letting things go. So meaning they've worked on things, they've forgiven themselves, they've forgiven others. They're excited to move on, but they're still like, what else should I be doing? And it's like, you did it. You're at the final stage of working through things, the final stage of moving on, the final stage after forgiveness, the final stage after, you have processed. The final stage is letting go. When someone tells you to let it go and you haven't processed or looked at something or lifted up the carpet, when someone tells you to let it go, you're like, oh, thanks a lot. How the fuck do I do that? I can't do that. It's here. It's all over me. I'm a vessel holding acid. How do I let that go? I can't let it go because you haven't done the work. Again, it doesn't have to be arduous work. It doesn't have to be years long. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. But you haven't done the work, so you can't let it go. You haven't tilled the soil. You haven't planted the seeds, so you can't pick the fruit. Do the work. Know that there's things that are blocking your path. Know that there's things that you must let go of to move forward. Do that work. And then you'll see your fruit. There's my fruit. What do I do? What do I do? Oh, pick it. Picking the fruit is letting it go. That's the final step. That is the final step, is letting it go. So if you're having trouble letting things go, like the people on Instagram that wrote me, if you're having trouble letting go, it's because you haven't looked at it. You haven't forgiven yourself. You haven't forgiven the situation or them. You're not there yet. You're not there yet. And guess what you shouldn't do? You shouldn't be mad at yourself for that. You shouldn't hold your feet to the fire. You shouldn't berate yourself. You shouldn't demean yourself. You should go, oh, I love myself. This chick's okay. This dude's okay. I love him. I love her. And I'm going to give her some support so we can lodge or dislodge this boulder that's in my path. I love this chick. I want her to soar. I want her to walk on her path. I want her to meet someone, or I want her to, get a promotion, whatever it is, let me help her out a little bit. Let's take a look at some of the things that are under this rug. And then I can clean it up. And then final stage, I let it go. And the boulder is removed. I'm unstuck. I can move on. The past is controlling me. The past is in the past. You can't change it. Put your head where your feet is. Get in the moment and start working through some of these things that are toxic, that are acid in your life. Forgive yourself. Forgive them for you, not for them. Ask God, please, God, I give you this beautiful bubble. I ask you to work on this as I am working on it as well. And my nugget, my end result, my icing on the cake is the joy of letting it go. The joy of seeing the person that did me wrong and feeling nothing. No trigger, no pump of scared energy. Just Oh, right. Okay. I release you. Listen, there may be people that you don't talk to anymore. I don't know. Or maybe you let it go so much that you can talk to them, it doesn't bother you. But whatever it is, you're ready. If you're listening to this podcast, you're ready to let some things go. It's time because it's creating havoc in your life, and it's making you stuck, and it's making you stay in victimhood mentality and all the things that you want to get out of. So these are some ideas about letting go. It's deep, it's intense, but again, it doesn't have to be 10 years of your life trying to let one thing go. Maybe it is, and that's okay. Don't be mad at yourself. You can decide to look at things and let them go as slow or as quick as you want. Again, I'm still working on things from 20 years ago. Not all things, but there's certain things that pop up that I'm like, oh shit, what's that doing there still? Oh Lord, I definitely don't want that. Let me take a look here. Let me see what's going on. Let me call my guides in. Let me call my angels in. Because I certainly don't want that thing that happened 10 years ago or 20 years ago be blocking what I'm doing today and blocking the amazingness that my life is walking towards. Taking care of yourself and your mental state and your spiritual energy and your energetic body, honoring yourself is honoring God. And that's the bottom line. When you take care of yourself, you create space to have a deeper connection with God. You create space to hear God's messages, Spirit's messages. You create space for Spirit to work with you and Spirit to help you shine and help you live out your purpose. So taking care of yourself, removing blocks from your path is a devotion to God and to Spirit and to yourself. And so it is. I said to my guides, where'd you go? And they go, and so it is. And so it is. Thank you to my guides for bringing forward this information. Thank you guys for listening. I pray and hope so much that this served you, that there were nuggets here that you went, shit, I needed that. Yes. If so, write me a review on Apple Podcasts or email me, DM me, whatever you want. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if this served you. Thank you so much for all of your feedback. I love you guys. I love this podcast. I'm going to keep going here. Thank you to my guides, my angels. Thank you to this sacred and safe space. I will be thinking of you all. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. You can reach out to me, Erika at erikagabriel.com or on erikagabriel.com. I love you. God bless you. Take care and have a beautiful rest of your day.